Solution That Or podcast coming your way, guys. Another compound episode. This is number 346. Our SARMS series continues. Stevesmi here, and Mr. Rick is in the Bronx live. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
Good, good. Just quarantining, buddy. We're quarantining here, Evo headquarters in the Bronx in the basement. So we're underground where it's safe. We don't have to breathe the dirty air. So we're going to talk about on this one YK-11. YK-11 never made it past the pre-clinical stage, just like most of the other SARMs out there. YK-11, also called AK-11, one of the most popular SARMs among bodybuilders last couple years. 5 years ago, you could not find this stuff. And if you did find it, it was probably fake. Nowadays, there are some legit YK-11 being sold out there. Also, it was really expensive as well 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. And the price has come down a lot now, I think, as more companies are finding it and they're be able to sell it research chemical brands. So prices come down a lot. So it's great because its ability to build muscles almost on par with some anabolic steroids. So that's why it's become so popular. You know, it's going to help you build muscle and strength, just like some of the other SARMs like RAD and LGD that you see out there. So, and from, you know, the stuff that we've seen in some of these reports, YK-11 is probably the most powerful of these SARMs. I wouldn't say it's the strongest. I would put it more powerful. I think S23 is actually more powerful than it. But YK-11 has some really, really good effects that we've seen. Some people have put up logs on the forum, have been pretty happy with it. So I guess it was the research on it, a lot of Japanese research on it, Rick, and we're talking about it on the pre-show. Tell us a little bit about what you found based on the history.
Japanese researchers found the drug. So far, I've only seen research on it in vitro, in cells. No actual animal studies or human studies, obviously. It's actually quite a new drug. And even the studies I did find were actually very, very recent, 2011 volume. So we're looking at last 9-8 years, this drug has been even on the map. Become available in the black market, gray market, whatever you want to call it at this point, right? A few years ago, price, as with everything, was sky high at first, and then it gradually went down as it became more available. It's known as one of the strongest SARMs, and it kind of sort of is. Structurally, is very, very close to a hormone. It's very close to a prohormone. The other SARMs that attach to androgen receptors, like ostarine and S4, structurally, they don't look much at all like a hormone. On the other hand, YK-11 is sort of like a prohormone. It's a 3-oxo-19-norpregnolone. If you just really easy, quickly go to Wikipedia, open it up, look at it next to testosterone, and then look at it next to ostarine or S4, both of which also attach to androgen receptors. And just, you could tell the structure graphically. It looks very similar to an actual steroid. It's sort of like a prohormone that got a methyl ester modification, and just a couple of different modifications that were done to a prohormone. It is more anabolic than, say, something like dihydrotestosterone. Not as androgenic, but close. As far as other SARMs go, it's one of the more androgenic ones. And that's about it. There isn't, out of all of them, this is probably the one with the least information that I could find. It's all been done just in cells in a petri dish, not anything done in live animals or in humans so far that I've been able to find.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. You can even call it, it's kind of very unique. It functions like a SARM, but it has a chemical structure and backbone of an anabolic steroid. So some manufacturers, you know, they call it more of a steroidal SARM. So that's interesting. And I wonder if a lot of these SARMs companies that are trying to sell it have a problem with their processors because of that. So a lot of processors don't like them selling it. And I wonder if that's probably why you see a lot of these SARMs companies having issues.
Yeah, credit card companies nowadays don't want to be in the middle. They don't want to be the intermediary between you and your purchases that are probably not okay. Even if the seller wants to sell it to you and you, the buyer, want to buy it, credit card company doesn't want any part of it. And yeah, you know, they're most of these some places, they get real creative
I
in
was
order
told,
to
Rick,
get payment.
yeah, I was told, Rick, by a banker, the reason for that is Visa. Visa doesn't want to be involved with anything shady. They're a legit multi-billion-dollar company. They're actually, I think, one of the Dow components, I believe. So they're like considered a top 30 company in the world, and for sure top 15 in the United States. So they don't want to be involved with anything you're selling illegal. So if they find out you're selling anything illegal, they'll crack down on the credit card processors. So obviously Visa is so powerful that they pretty much run the show. So if Visa says you can sell it, then you can sell it. If Visa says you can't sell it, don't even try. Is that what you've been found?
Well, they used to not preemptively go out and search out people that were abusing their system. They had the rules, they had the whole setup. You agreed to the rules, but they weren't as actively searching out places abusing their system as they are now. The last 5 years, they've gotten real strict. And look, it's not perfect because innocent people, such as my own company, have gotten swept up in them looking for people selling SARMs and selling stuff they shouldn't. The products I sell through needtobuildmuscle.com, they're all legal. They're all made in certified facilities. All of my stuff is completely legal. Nothing is gray market or nothing's gray area. Yet, because guys will talk about my products on the forums, on Facebook, everywhere, talk about my products with their cycle, with their steroids, stacks, they assume that I'm doing something shady, and they've dropped me. I've been dropped by banks because of these reviews before. And they're out there just looking for guys selling SARMs, looking for guys selling research, looking for guys who's still selling pro hormones, looking for guys selling steroids on through credit card, which amazingly enough still happens out there. And in their whole effort to clean chop, they sweep some innocent bystanders like myself along with it. So I've experienced it. I know why it's going on. It's really been the last 5 years that the credit card companies have really, really proactive about removing guys. So yeah, all the way, you go back all the way to 2004, 2005, 2006. You used to be able to just check out with your credit card at any research place, any place selling FINA kits, any place doing anything. Like, they just check right out. And really around 2015, 2016 is when everybody started having merchant issues reoccurring.
So why are these?
Until now, nobody has a direct merchant.
So Rick, let me ask you this, and just so guys understand this, and then we'll move on. But how are these SARMS companies able to sell YK-11 then? Real quick.
They find creative ways of processing your orders. I mean, it's just to put it that way. I mean, I don't want to give away the whole industry, or not. I also don't want to give people ideas out there who wanted to start selling SARMs, but they just couldn't figure out the credit card part of it. It's not something I want to tell people how to do, but they find really creative ways of taking payment. And look, how about this? you'll be able to see it. Just go to their website and you'll see some of the things they're doing, and then they've got some stuff they're doing behind door number 1 and door number 2, and it's they find creative ways. And then the credit card processing companies, Visa, MasterCard, and the banks and all the ISOs and below them, they're all always looking for companies abusing the system. It's cat and mouse, and it's gotten pretty crazy the last couple of years.
All right. Well, I think our guys understand why. So if you can get YK-11, you might want to take advantage of it soon, because over time you probably won't be able to buy this with a credit card as these companies find out. So if you can, definitely get a hold of it if you want to try it. So chemically structured, there is some DHT, glycerol phosphate, and absorbic acid chemical structure to it. So you could kind of call YK-11 almost like a DHT-derived steroid, but it's got SARMS-like properties. I haven't seen enough blood work on this stuff yet to really know how it affects your HPTA. But I'm curious to see that. I'm curious to see if it's suppressive as steroids or as suppressive as SARMs, because SARMs are only slightly suppressive. So I haven't seen enough blood work yet. We're still learning about this stuff. I haven't seen any ironclad bloods. I've seen some bloods, but no ironclad drugs. Like I said, this stuff's only been around like maybe a year where you can get legit YK-11. Before, it was all fake and fake stuff. So we're still learning about this, guys, for sure. So, but blood work does not lie. So you can take it and find out for yourself. But some of that, the way it's chemically structured, would explain why a lot of guys say that this stuff gave them more muscle gains than other SARMs. So another thing to kind of go over is, in a way, it does have SARM-like properties because it's still a partial agonist of the androgen receptor. Basically, just like SARMs tend to do, it does add, kind of bind to the androgen receptor. But another thing that YK-11 does really cool is it stimulates your muscle cells to produce increased follistatin. And that's a protein that limits your body's secretion of myostatin. So that's kind of a cool thing. So, and what myostatin is, everyone's been searching for a myostatin over the years. Myostatin, it's a compound that sets a limited amount of muscle that one can produce. So if you can somehow block that myostatin, essentially you can just grow your muscles indefinitely and get your muscles as big as they can possibly get, and bigger, way bigger than what you can naturally do it or on steroids make it do. So that's interesting. And so if you can kind of get through that myostatin, there's no telling how much muscle you can actually put on. So hypothetically, running YK-11, you should be able to put on more muscle mass than you ever have, comparing, apples to apples. And there was an animal model clinical trial that discovered mice who lacked the gene that produces myostatin had 4 times the muscle as compared to regular mice. So can you just imagine having 4 times as much muscle as normal? That's pretty interesting. So, we could say this is the first and only steroidal compound that is effective at increasing follistatin and reducing myostatin as well. So we're going to kind of get into that, but I'm going to bring in Rick and let him get his thoughts on that.
I wouldn't use it really. It's sort of expensive and it's hard to really know what it does. So new. So I'm sure a ton of people are getting fake YK-11. A lot of people are probably getting fake YK-11. That is probably some pro hormones, maybe some over-the-counter stuff, or maybe some grayish market stuff that's a lot cheaper. You've got to trust your source if you're gonna grab it from anybody. You got to know where it's coming from. And I mean, I don't really see much of a benefit over just some of the regular oral steroids we can get. If you grab some Anavar, I mean, you're getting a scheduled substance at that point, but you know what it's going to do. there's been more research and data behind it. It's been an approved drug at some point. It still is. I would probably run that over YK-11. And I get it, the ease of being able to just kind of pay and have it shipped and not have to worry about the legalities of it and think it's so safe would make me maybe want to buy it if I was a new guy. But this one, I'm going to probably tell guys to pass on. What do you think, Steve?
Well, I was offered to run a log on it a few months ago, and I turned it down just because of that. It's kind of like you first, I want to see what other people do on it. And the benefits of it sound really good on paper, but the realities are that the people who have actually run it they haven't built 4 times as much muscle. They haven't, it's overstated what it can actually do. And that's science, guys. I mean, that's, there's a difference between a rat in a cage, having something done on it in a controlled environment in real life situations. So the guys who have run it, yeah, they have had results, but nothing like what we see on paper. So, we could talk about, some of the stuff it does. Yeah.
I think we've got a lot of guys selling it, got crazy with the marketing and myostatin inhibitor and this and that. And ever since we've seen the pictures of the genetically modified cattle and how huge and just how ridiculously muscular they look, everybody's wanted for there to be something like that. This really safe myostatin inhibitor that will make you grow huge muscles. And you don't have to take steroids. I mean, good myostatin inhibitor would be so far down the line that when you mess with steroids, you're up the line. You're doing things to do other things to build muscle. When you inhibit myostatin, you're basically keeping your body from breaking down any of the muscle that you build, because your protein cycles. You build and break down muscle every day. It's just how your body works. And we've all wanted for there to be a good one. And so these guys get crazy with the marketing. They'll say that this is a good myostatin inhibitor. And the myostatin inhibitor is that holy grail drug that once we find it, there'll be no more bad side effects. There'll be none of this stuff, the acne, the liver, hopefully not the liver problems. That we don't know what kind of delivery it'll have. But we won't have any of these other issues. All that'll happen is you'll just keep every ounce of muscle that you build and just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger as the days go by. So we all wanted that. But YK-11 is not it. And let me tell you guys, when humanity finds that good myostatin inhibitor that we can take, we'll know right away. We'll know right away because within a matter of a year or two, you'll just see huge, brolic, cut people walking around everywhere, just using this stuff. It'll be an explosion of muscle when this comes. The good, safe myostatin inhibitor being like the messiah of the chemical enhancement religion, right? When it comes, you'll fucking know. You'll know. It's not going to be like, YK-11, myostatin inhibitor, but we don't know, but it might or it might not. And people are taking, no, it'll drastically change the way everybody looks, with pretty much, if you think about it, it should be close to zero side effects, because you don't have to mess with your endocrine system to get there. You don't mess with your whole growth hormone system to get there. No, you go right to the end of the line. You go right to what you're trying to achieve. A lot of marketing, a lot of hype behind it. This one ain't it, guys. This is not the holy grail. This is not the messiah of the chemical enhancement religion, guys.
Well, just because it's not going to, cause you to gain, 4 times the normal muscle, and the myostatin things is overstated on this, doesn't mean it still hasn't given guys some results. So let's kind of go over what we've seen from guys who've logged it and guys who've tried it. Just like the other SARMs, they've got some increase in muscle, bone density, strength, and even libido a little bit. So a lot of guys who've used YK-11, they said, yeah, I want to use it again. They've liked it. It's one of the best when it comes to increasingly muscle mass compared to other SARMs, and close to what steroids can do for you. If you get good quality anavar, for example, lean steroid gains, and you're going to get dry gains on this stuff. You're going to get dense. So maybe very similar to a DHT compound like anavar, or maybe a little winstrol. So you can kind of chase that situation. And in terms of suppression, again, like I said earlier, I haven't seen ironclad blood work, but what we've seen in some of these clinical trials and studies and the blood work that I have seen from guys, it's kind of, we don't really know, but we can make the assumption based on what I've seen that is going to be somewhere in between SARMs and steroids when it comes to suppression. So that's something you want to keep an eye on. That's something you want to be aware of. So it's always important, if you run YK-11, you always want to run a PCT with it, 100%. And then, some guys, side effects. We haven't seen enough evidence with side effects. The only thing that we've seen is some liver toxicity and some cholesterol issues on it. And that's very similar with other SARMs. So you want to use your N2 guard when you're running it. And you want to make sure that you are eating good when you're taking it if you want to get the best results. So those are some of the things we can see. And specifically YK-11, it seems to be more liver toxic, Rick, than some of the other SARMs. So you definitely want to make sure you're running your TUDCA, your milk thistle, and the N2 guard, which already has the TUDCA and milk thistle already included. And N2 guard also has 6 or 7 different liver aids that are with it, Rick. That's why I always recommend to you, when you're running SARMs, you got to use N2 guard. And you tend to argue with me on that sometimes, but I tell you, bro, you got to run that N2 guard. Very, very important. At 7 caps a day, brother.
Funny guy over here.
7 caps a day, brother. What did I tell you last time? You didn't run N2 guard with SARMs, and your liver went up.
I take N2 guard whether I'm on or off. That's just my daily multivitamin, my daily multi-mineral, my daily multi-everything right now. Just doesn't matter what I'm doing on or off. I take it. You need a multivitamin. You need a multi-mineral. The soil depletion, the way food is manufactured now, you need it. You've just got to take it. So I take N2 guard, and helping me keep from developing any deficiencies. It also has other ingredients to help with the liver, cholesterol, water retention, some of these side effects we get from the steroids and just the lifestyle in general. So, man, I stay with the N2 guard on the daily, bro. It's just part of my regimen. It's part of what I do.
Yeah, so YK-11, one of the more expensive SARMs out there. It's come down, though, like Rick was saying earlier. So it is affordable if you want to get a month's worth. And, I would start probably 10 milligrams a day would be the dosage. Stacking it, you can stack it with any of the other SARMs. It just depends on what your goals are. You can stack it with GW. You can stack it with LGD. You can stack it with Nutribol. You can stack it with RAD. You can stack it with Andrine, with Austrian, anything. You can stack it. Some guys like to stack it with one other thing. Some guys can use it solo. Some guys like to use it with 3. Of all the SARMs, this one is the one you could run it by itself and still get really, really good results on, because it is so much stronger than the other SARMs that are out there, aside from probably S23. So, and you can run it in your steroid cycle. That's another thing that you can try. Try running it as part of your steroid cycle. If you're running whatever you could be running, you can run it during that. I wouldn't run it in PCT. I wouldn't run it in bridge because it is too suppressive. And then if you do run it, like I said earlier, you want to run a mini PCT. N2 Generate ES is the one I recommend, and for your PCT with it. And, run blood work, guys. Run blood work for sure. If you want to see what it's doing to your body, run blood work. That'll give you a good indication of what's going on. But yeah, I mean, that sums it up. Anything else you want to add, Rick?
Yeah, when it comes to YK-11 and these other SARMs, don't let anybody fill your head with too much marketing. There's a lot of profit around them. So all this myostatin inhibitor stuff and some of these, just cut it out. Okay. Don't give in to the hype. I've seen this whole SARMS market progress to now there are places out there telling people that they should inject some of these compounds. Just stop it, guys. Stop it. There's plenty of compounds available to us to get you that look you want. Some of these things are, this is new. This is YK-11 is very new. Hasn't even reached any kind of serious research really on the way to becoming a drug with a purpose. I mean, yeah, there's a ton of marketing behind it, and guys are reporting this or that effect. I've noticed a lot of inconsistent reports with YK-11. I believe is because a lot of sources are probably either on purpose putting something else in there that's more cost effective and will give people some results, or unknowingly are receiving from suppliers already powders that are not 100% pure, powders that are maybe swapped out for something else. And that's why you see quite a bit of inconsistency in the reports of what people say they get and don't get from it. That's why I didn't get too much into the side real kind of, okay, these are the exact side effects, because I've seen it all over the place. I've seen a guy here, there report water retention, guy here, there report libido problems. Other people report feeling great, getting drier. I think because of the cost, how new it is, and how it's just something a lot of new guys are going to buy because they can just pull their credit card out, buy it on a website, fund the wallet, transfer money, Bitcoin stuff over, and they're just going to be able to get it in capsules that they're gonna go and buy it. And if what's in there swapped out for something else, you're not gonna know the difference. You can get a good 1 and 4 DHEA stack in one of these bottles, get charged a lot of money for it, and you'll feel the difference. You will. So don't give too much into the hype. Be careful with this one. This is one I'm going to advise most guys out there to pass on. I don't know if I'm going to try it myself. I normally would want something to at least get into the pipeline for becoming a medication before I try it. Even if it's not yet approved. But this one is really early on, so I've got to think about this one. I don't know if I'm going to use it just yet. How about you, Steve? Are you gonna use it?
I would use it at some point. I would use it at this point because I've seen some logs and some guys reported some pretty.
You should do like a cutting cycle or something with it if you're gonna use it, because you kind of get it out there, bro. I didn't want to say anything, but now that we're like towards the end of the podcast, like you need to do something about it.
I thought you liked men with meat. When you're like slamming them from behind, you don't like to grab on some size.
It's getting disturbing. Steve. You got to do something about it. You're starting to, like, since the lockdowns began and you haven't been able to go to the gym and you've been deteriorating. You started to make me feel like we're just frauds here, man. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what's the point? So. You're
supposed to be quarantining, bro.
Listen, bro. I don't care. You do some fucking planks or something. All right, but we're not gonna have this, bro. It's not acceptable, Steve.
We're gonna shred. All right, guys. So YK-11.
Every time you get off your chair, and I just see the size and just the girthiness of it all. I'm disturbed by it. Just your titties starting to cast a shadow over your belly when the t-shirts that are beginning to get tight on you. It's disturbing, bro. and it's got to stop. You've got to. So listen, even if it YK-11, even if it kills you, all right. But we're just listen, Steve. We're doing something about this. Just this is an intervention, by the way. So you know,
We're gonna do
because I
it.
care about you. I care about you, and this just no. This is not what we do here. All right.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. Pep talk. Rick's giving me a pep talk. All right. So, anything else you want to add to YK-11? Or are you ready to close up?
um, I'd probably skip this one, guys. I'm probably gonna skip it. Steve needs it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm gonna skip on. I'm gonna skip this one. I think at least for now. Let's see. Let's see what happens if
You go
in a years.
first. You use it first, and then I'll you be the guinea pig. How about that? And then I'll try right
Yeah,
after
I'm. Oh, jeez. It's so disturbing that there are people out there really thinking that they can inject some of this stuff, and why? Like, what's the whole point of it? That there's plenty of good proven compounds that we know. Use testosterone. You know, there is no question whether testosterone is what it's going to do for you. You've had testosterone in your system since you were developing as a fetus. There's been testosterone flowing around you. Just use that instead of YK-11, blah blah. Just my opinion. I would skip on this one, guys. And I mean, are there any real big health benefits that are being claimed with this one that we know of yet?
Well, it was developed for that purpose, right? It was developed as a myostatin inhibitor originally.
Yeah, but there. I don't. Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's not this. I don't think this is the one. Look, when we find a myostatin inhibitor, you're just gonna see brawling motherfuckers working all over the place. As long as you got the money you're willing to spend it, you'll take it and you'll just get huge for no reason.
I think with this one, they wanted it to do that, and then they found out that it didn't really do that. So then it kind of went, the way of the
all of us
you
that have
know?
seen the pictures of these cows and these mice that have been genetically altered with the myostatin inhibition, and we've all have been waiting for this thing to come out, because what basically happens, guys, is your muscles are building muscle every day. Every day you're building a little bit of muscle, and every day is breaking down a little bit. And the whole thing we do with nutrition, steroids, all this stuff is you just want to keep building a little bit more than you're breaking down on a daily basis. Because if you just train, just eat right, and then you just reach a limit where you're just always going to be building and breaking down the same amount of muscle every day. You reach that cap. And then through steroids, insulin, growth hormone, all this stuff, now you get to a point where every day you're building more muscle than you're breaking down. If we find a myostatin inhibitor, the real one, the good one, you'll just stop breaking down muscle. You just keep building on a daily basis, as long as you're taking this thing. Or maybe you'll be able to walk into a clinic and have your genes edited so that you are like the cows, like the mice, and you're just going to be huge without having to take anything else, mess with your endocrine system or anything else. You'll just get huge. That's it. Because you're building the muscle every day. Your body can do it. It's just that you've got the myostatin there, making sure that you're breaking some of it down, because muscle has to be fed. It's not conducive to survival to have all this muscle mass that needs to be fed additional amounts of calories every day. If you look at it in a context where we're foraging and hunting for our food, and evolutionarily, just not something evolution would want. So the myostatin is there to make sure you're breaking down muscle.
All right, guys. So that's YK-11. If any of you want to learn more about it, click on the links, and you can link over to the website and post some questions, and If you want to try it, you can give it a shot. For Stevesmi and Rick, has been episode number 346. We'll talk to you guys next week with another compound. Take it away.
Guys, visit n2guard.com and the number 2guard.com. Liver support product for any cycle you take in SARMS, anything. It's just really, really good stuff. It's our product. My stuff is what keeps the show going. It's what sponsors the show. So, guys, please come out and support. If you're already buying liver support, Live 52, or you're buying some stuff from other brands, just please come on over and shop from us. Shop from Need to Build Muscle. Help my small business keep going. N2guard.com, guys. And with that said, have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.